Hello, hello, hello. My name is Kyle Van Voris with Voris.com, and if you run an SDR team, you probably know turnover can be pretty high. Now, I have worked with over 40 different sales organizations, and I've learned a thing or two about reducing SDR turnover, and in this video, I'm gonna share with you exactly how to do that. So, let's dive right in. The sales department has a reputation for having high turnover in general. It's a success-oriented part of the job, very performance-based. You don't do well, you typically get let go. But there's also a lot of voluntary turnover, people who will leave and not stay with a company. And you've probably heard the phrase, people don't leave bad companies, they leave bad leaders. So I want to share with you some of what I've learned about reducing turnover specifically for SDRs. Now, in sales in general, we have a turnover issue. This video is going to specifically be about SDRs. And one thing that I think is important to highlight here is why is there high turnover in the SDR role in the first place? I'll answer that for you. Number one, the role is pretty repetitive. You do the same thing for the most part every single day. That can be kind of boring for some people, causing them to lose interest. Number two, the role inherently is pretty inefficient. You might make 100 cold calls and book one meeting. And then you're gonna do that again the next day. And that inefficiency can be really difficult for some people to live with because they want to optimize, they want to get to a place where they feel like their efforts are yielding better results and they're not wasting a whole bunch of effort. The reality is that's baked into the role. So if folks can't get through that, then they're not gonna want to be in that role for very long. Number three, there's lots of rejection, and that doesn't feel good. If you're someone who cold calls and you get told no after no after no, it can beat you down. And not everybody is cut out for that. I'll tell you a funny story real quick. So I was speaking at a conference, this is at the end of October, and I gave my talk, and afterwards I was hanging out with a lot of the founders who were in the audience. There's about 12 of us. And with this one founder and I, we were totally hitting it off. We have similar personalities, but he also has a sales background. And he started off cold calling and then closing deals. So our careers were fairly similar. And he and I were talking to somebody else who was a founder of a company who said cold calling never worked for him. So the guy next to me goes, well, give me one of your leads. I'll cold call him right now. And next thing you know, him and I are doing actual live cold calls in front of this group of 12 founders, having a blast. And credit to him, he actually ended up booking a meeting, which was awesome to see. But that's because him and I, we're not afraid of rejection. You can say no to us, that's fine. We're chasing the yes. What's it gonna take to get the yes? That's the type of person that is successful in a high rejection environment. So I've worked with over 40 different sales teams now, maybe 42, somewhere around there. And I can tell you a couple of things that I've done that have had a really big impact on retention for SDRs. And I'll give you three things. I got a little bonus tip for you in here that I think if you implement will have an impact on your retention as well. The first one here is career progression. What you want to do is create a structure for how your reps are going to progress in their careers while at the organization. So for some folks, this is level 1, 2, level 3 SDR, and they'll have different levels that people progress through. You want to do something like that, and we have resources to help you. If you look around, you'll find them. Maybe we'll link it in the description. I think we did a whole blog post on this, but the idea is have a career progression that splits that SDR role from however many months it is normally into a bunch of mini promotions that lead up to the big one where they become a direct salesperson. Number two, consistent coaching. When people feel like they are progressing their skill sets, they typically don't want to leave that environment because there is a dedicated time for them to grow and develop as SDRs, ultimately leading to the next step in their career. And if you couple that with career progression, then you're gonna have a really nice system in place that's gonna be hard for an SDR to feel okay leaving. And number three, and this is a big one that a lot of organizations fail to do, and that's helping your reps thrive outside of work. So some of your coaching, some of your training, your development should be to help improve them as people. What I've found time and time again is that when someone's outside of work life is going well, their inside of work life also improves. So if you can help them become better people, they'll become better SDRs. It also makes it a lot harder for an SDR to leave an organization when they're having all of their growth and development within the company, but also outside the company, because they feel that growth personally and professionally. That's a really beautiful combination of things that people really, really like. One more thing, bonus. I have one more thing for you. I was gonna throw throw this in my little list, but this is something that I think is more foundational to sales across the board. It's not just specific to SDRs, so I decided to throw it in as a bonus at the end. Are you ready? Drum roll. I'm excited. Competitions. That's right. I love doing competitions, especially for money prizes. So if you can set up competitions and little games that the SDRs can play and the AEs can play, that has a huge impact because it keeps things fun. Now you can do all sorts of different types of stuff, but my favorite is ad hoc competition. So if the team is doing exceptional one day and I want to add to the flames there, what I'll do is I'll set up a competition. So for example, let's say in the morning, the SDR team booked 10 meetings and the most meetings they've ever booked in a day as a team, it was 15. What I would do is stop everybody right before lunch and say, hey guys, we are at 10 and it's not even noon yet. So we are actually pacing to beat our record on a day. So here's what we're gonna do. By the end of today, so you guys get back from lunch, we're gonna do a huge call blitz. If we book 6 more meetings, which would be us breaking the record, I will take everybody out to dinner at X Steakhouse or somewhere nice. If you can do little games like that, that has a huge impact on the team's performance, especially when you can attach it to days where things are just extra special. You know, if you look at an SDR team's performance, it's not always consistent. You'll have good days and bad days, and it's almost like investing. If you don't maximize the best trading days when you're investing, you lose 80% of your gains. The same thing with SDRs. If you don't maximize those great days by adding fuel to the fire through competitions, games, and prizes, then you're not going to be getting the most out of that team's performance. And that's it. If you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe, and I look forward to talking to y'all soon.